CTV News with Caroline Van Vlartigan.
Good evening. After a 4-day manhunt, police have arrested 41-year-old Philippe Benoit, wanted in connection with a homicide in Shawinigan. Benoit is a suspect in the death of a 16-year-old boy, and he faces a first-degree murder charge. The body of the boy was found Sunday morning, and there are reports it was Benoit's son. Police say the teenager had been confined and beaten to death. Benoit was arrested at around 4:30 this afternoon near Lac Veillette in the Mauricie region. Well, it is a first in Quebec. Quebec's Department of Agriculture, Fisheries and Food has reported that on July 23rd, a stray cat was found to be infected with raccoon rabies. It happened in the town of Godmanchester in the Eastern Townships. Raccoons can carry rabies, but this is the first case recorded in a cat in Quebec. There is no cure, so animal organizations are reminding people to have their pets vaccinated against rabies and not to let them roam freely where there's wildlife. Anyone who believes they have been infected should also wash the area thoroughly and call 811. Police in the Eastern Townships are sounding the alarm after 5 incidents of the so-called Doughnut challenge. The stunt has been featured on social media, showing people loosening or removing lug nuts on the wheels of vehicles without the owner's knowledge. Memphremagog police issued a communique this week saying there have been 5 incidents since last fall, including 4 in the last 2 months. And in 2 of the cases, a wheel came off while the driver was being driven, and the drivers barely made it to safety on the side of the road. Police say parents should talk to their teens about this and stress the serious potential consequences.
We hope that a lot of parents will have a discussion with their kids, their teenager, because that's a kind of challenge that we see on TikTok. It's a really dangerous challenge. Car can go off the road. We have to put some time, using time with our teenager. Talk about this. It's like a stupid challenge, you know. So we expect that there's going to be an open discussion between a challenge and between teenager and parents.
And if a person is caught and convicted of loosening the lug nuts of a car that causes a fatal accident, the penalty could be a lifetime of prison. The SQ says it stopped a 21-year-old man who was going 210 kilometers an hour yesterday on Highway 15 North in Laval. The driver was fined more than $2,000 and lost 24 demerit points. His license was also suspended for a week. Santé Quebec has launched a second investigation into the deaths of 3 children who died while under the care of Batshaw Family Services. And the Minister of Social Services has addressed the issue publicly now for the first time. Here's Matt Grillo.
Following the deaths of 3 minors under Batshaw care in March, Santé Quebec has asked its National Inspector Office for an independent review of youth care. It will have 2 mandates: to optimize practices and conduct an administrative investigation. But for Phony Emmy of the Centre for Research Action on Race Relations, that doesn't go far enough.
It's going to be an internal administrative investigation that may not produce all the facts and all the transparency that is required.
Details of the deaths were first reported by La Presse and the Gazette and confirmed by Batshaw employees. 2 teenagers died by suicide. A 3rd child, a 4-year-old girl, who had not been followed up with in months, also died. According to an employee CTV News spoke to, she showed signs of abuse and malnutrition. When the story was made public last week, it left many shocked. But Quebec's Social Services Minister Lionel Carman said he's known about it for some time.
Ces dossiers ont été portés à notre attention en temps et lieu. On était au courant de la situation depuis un bout de temps.
We were aware of the situation, Carman said on French radio station 98.5 FM. Carman, who declined to speak to CTV News, also rejected opposition criticism for not commenting on the story sooner.
To me, it was deplorable, the fact that our minister, our government, had not publicly come out, at the very least, to transmit, their condolences to the families of these 3 children. And in terms of what are they doing? with respect to Batshaw.
The coroner's office is also investigating the deaths, but Niemi says they should be holding a public inquiry.
The advantage of a coroner's inquiry is that it ensures transparency, it ensures, among the things, accountability, and ultimately, we have to look at not only the causes and circumstances of death, but also how to prevent it.
Last week, Quebec Solidaire also called for independent investigations by both the Commissioner for Children's Well-being and Rights, as well as Quebec's Human Rights and Youth Rights Commission, just one of many voices that wants to understand what happened and what needs to be fixed to better protect already vulnerable children. Matt Grillo, CTV News.
And tonight, Lionel Carman's office extended his condolences to the loved ones and families of the young people involved, but said out of respect for the 3 coroner's investigations already underway, he could not comment further at this time. There was a robbery early this afternoon at Carrefour Angrillon. Police say several masked suspects entered a jewelry store, Edouard Or, just after 1 o'clock, and they smashed display cases with blunt objects and made off with a quantity of valuable jewelry. Police say they have made 1 arrest, a 16-year-old, and they are looking for several other people. A 65-year-old sex offender with a lengthy criminal record is at large. 65-year-old Mario Charette was in the Montreal area when he allegedly breached conditions of his probation. He was charged with sexually assaulting 3 people in June of 2023 in Rivière-Rouge, about 180 kilometers northwest of Montreal in the Laurentians. Charette pleaded guilty to sexually assaulting 2 of them, and this is the second time he has been unlawfully at large. For a complete description, you can go to our website, ctvnewsmontreal.ca. Well, it was a chaotic scene this morning at the U.S. departures level of Trudeau Airport. There were ambulances and flights canceled, and hundreds of passengers left stranded. Olivia O'Malley explains.
Several flights to the United States have been canceled.
Passengers trying to leave on early morning flights were grounded. U.S. Customs and Border Protection temporarily suspended its operations due to an odor from construction materials.
We were in the gate waiting for security, and nothing was moving. We saw paramedics, firemen go through, and they just told us all to leave.
In a statement to CTV News, the Aéroport de Montréal says the temporary suspension was caused by the odor of varnish associated with painting work. While the odor may have been unpleasant, it did not pose any health risk. We thank passengers for their patience and understanding. Urgence Santé tells CTV News 4 crews were sent to the airport. 9 patients were treated on site.
You got a smell of some substance in the air.
As a result, several flights were canceled. Passengers say it was hard to get answers about their departure.
There wasn't a lot of information, and then they just told us all to leave, and that the U.S. Customs and Border was temporarily closed.
Employees were giving out water and snacks, but it was little comfort to Cindy Turgel, who will be missing part of her yearly Disney World trip.
We have special event tickets that cost us like $600. We have dining reservations. It's a big mess.
Even if she does make it to a more magical place, she says her bags might not.
They're telling us that the bags are like being held because they were like under the spill or something. And that makes me wonder too, like what condition are my bags going to be in?
Operations gradually resumed just after 11 in the morning. But the more than 5-hour-long delay means there's a backlog of hundreds of passengers that officials say will take time to get through. Olivia O'Malley, CTV News.
It'll soon be easier for more Canadians to renew their passports online. Ottawa has removed the cap on online applications. It is open to adults who are 16 years of age or older when their last passport was issued, and the previous passport must have been received within the last 15 years. Applicants can expect to receive the new passport in 20 business days. Ottawa says it will spend almost $2 billion to replace 45 of Via Rail's aging locomotives. Most of the work will be done right here in Montreal. Transport Minister, I should say, Stephen McKinnon made the announcement this morning in Montreal, where a new assembly plant and maintenance facility will be built. The new locomotives will be built by Swiss-based company Stadler, and they will be hybrid, the first hybrid trains in North America.
This announcement is about far more than new trains. It's about building our country, supporting our workers, supporting passengers, creating good jobs, and developing expertise right here in Canada.
And the deal promises to create 1,200 new full-time jobs, and the hybrid trains will use Canadian-made batteries. The first locomotives are expected to enter service by 2031. The city of Dorval des Ormeaux has canceled a planned information session for residents who were flooded on June 20th. DDO says the decision was made following a request for a class action lawsuit against the city for flood damages. The application alleges that the municipality did not take proper action to address the risk of flooding. Meantime, the city says residents can submit questions by email. The suit has not yet been authorized. 2 private colleges that had their permits suspended will be allowed to take students again for now. The Collège Supérieur in Montreal and the Collège Supérieur in Sherbrooke were forced to close suddenly on June 30th. The ministry said the schools didn't meet the adequate level of resources. Quebec's administrative tribunal has now put a temporary stay on the suspension, pending further investigation, with a decision expected in the fall. A young man in Quebec decided he was spending too much time on social media, so he decided to do something about it. He created a new social media app. You might call it an anti-social media app, though. He says it's about making going online healthier. Here's Sweeta Rassi.
Lexi Bose is the one-man team behind Livio, a social media app built to give your thumb a break.
The idea really came to mind 2 years ago when I wanted a healthier experience on social media.
He says he became addicted to doom scrolling, spending hours a day on social media. The 21-year-old knew he had to cut back, but even that was hard. So with the help of AI, he taught himself how to code. He started to work on the app in the beginning of 2026, and in May, he finally launched it. No algorithms, no ads. And when you get to the end of the feed, you get this message.
You've seen it all, the rest is offline.
A 2026 report from Statistics Canada says screen time recommendation is set at no more than 2 hours a day, but nearly 40% of young people don't follow it.
Honestly, I don't know. I do spend a lot, especially during the summer. Per day?
Per day.
Like 3-4 hours?
I kind of doom scroll a lot.
Tech analyst Carmi Levy says some social media apps are no longer about community. It's about making money.
It's about algorithms deciding what you see, what you're most likely to want to see next. And it's really software ensuring that you stay on the platform for as long as possible.
The UQAM business student says he's not doing it for the money. He adds his app is getting a lot of traction. In the App Store, it jumped up to 9th place in top downloads for social media.
Oh, number 9. Wow.
So you went up.
Wow. I'm really surprised.
I can tell.
Yeah, I'm really happy. I think it really shows how people want to make a change. We can take matter into our own hands and really have a change on the world.
An app that reminds users it's okay to go offline. Sweeta Rassi, CTV News.
Still to come, why is Canada falling behind on HIV infection prevention? The UN AIDS organization, which is meeting in Rio de Janeiro right now, has announced a global decrease in new HIV infections in 2025. But that is not the situation in Canada. The Public Health Agency of Canada is reporting a 23% increase in HIV infections in this country between 2022 and 24. Here to explain what's happening here behind those numbers is Andrew Brett, Communications Director for Katie, Canada's source for HIV and hepatitis C information. Thanks for joining us, Mr. Brett.
Thank you for having me.
So first off, in the interest of transparency, how are our numbers arrived at exactly compared to the international models or numbers?
For sure. Yeah. So both nationally and internationally, epidemiologists epidemiologists like to look at not just diagnosed cases of HIV, but also who's getting HIV and we don't know about it, who's not engaged in the healthcare system. So they use mathematical models to estimate how many HIV infections are happening in the country. And in the case of Canada, they found that there was a 23% increase in these estimated infections over a 2-year period.
Okay, and you don't expect them to go down then based on what you're seeing, because the latest numbers internationally are up to 2025.
Exactly. So it does take some time to calculate these estimates, but we were quite surprised to see that Canada, a country that has the resources to address HIV, is doing quite poorly when you compare to the global average, and even compared to some low and middle income countries that are doing quite well in addressing HIV.
So why do you think that Canada's numbers are not keeping pace with reductions elsewhere in the world?
Well, it's not really that surprising. All you have to do is look at government investment in the HIV response. Within Canada, the level of investment has been stagnant for decades. So the government of Canada has committed to eliminating HIV as a public health concern, but didn't really do anything to scale up funding or policy changes.
So do we know how many people in Canada are actually living with HIV right now, today?
It's estimated that about 65,000 Canadians are living with HIV, but about 1 in every 10 doesn't actually know their status. And that's why it's important to model estimates and not just look at diagnosed cases.
So 65,000 people, those are the estimates, or again, these are the actual cases that have been diagnosed?
Those are the estimated number of people living with HIV, and that includes people who don't know their status.
Okay. And Canada, you say, has committed to reaching 95% on 3 very important targets to eliminate HIV as a public health concern. First, that 95% of people living with HIV are diagnosed. Second, that 95% of those diagnosed are on treatment. And third, that 95% of those on treatment are receiving the viral suppression drugs which prevent transmission. But we've only reached the 3rd target. What does that mean? Does that mean there's a lot of undiagnosed people in Canada who are just not on treatment at all?
Canada is doing quite well when it comes to people who are on treatment achieving viral suppression. One of the silver linings about the new estimates is we found that Canada has finally also achieved the first 90 target, but this was a target from 2020. It's now 2026, and we're supposed to be at 95% of people living with HIV knowing their status.
And what does each case of HIV infection cost our healthcare system in this country?
Yeah, so health economists in Alberta have calculated that each HIV infection today will cost our society and healthcare system about $1.4 million over a lifetime. So investing in prevention now isn't just saving lives, it's also saving us all money.
All right, Andrew Brett, Communications Director for Katie, thanks so much for joining us from Rio de Janeiro today.
Thank you.
Still ahead, a popular Quebec donut chain rolls into Ontario.
Weather brought to you by Gratian Scaff's 50th anniversary gift event. Get a complete second pair and sunglasses as a gift.
Well, the gloomier weather came along with some cooler than usual temperatures. That was with an expected high of 22. That said, we have seen colder on this day of the year. In 1987, we hit our record low of 8.4 degrees. So thankfully, not seeing anywhere temperatures near that cold. But for tonight, we are looking at a move down in the mercury. So an overnight low of 18 degrees is what we're expecting, along with mostly cloudy skies. We're expecting to hold on to that into the morning as well. We'll have a wake-up temperature around 20, and then the mercury is expected to move up again, we'll have an expected high of 25, but you can prepare yourself to see a little bit of everything. So that could look like sun, that could look like clouds, that will also look like a 60% chance of showers in the afternoon. You'll want to bear that in mind. Insofar as the timing, our futurecast showing us that rain from earlier clearing out. We are going to get quite a bit of sunshine at around noon, and then we start to see some scattered showers moving back in as we head into the evening. But it is good news to end off the week. Friday looking like it should bring a mix of sun and clouds. It's also going to feel warm, so our daytime high is looking like 28 degrees for Friday. It could feel more like 34 with the humidity. Saturday also expected to feel warm with the humidex at 35, but you'll see some clouds coming in on Saturday. That is as we prepare for another rain system moving in. And on Sunday, that could bring us up to 17 millimeters. So bear that in mind. We could also get an additional 2 on Monday. Temperatures are expected to remain in the mid-20s on those 2 days, but again, feeling like the 30s with that humidity at 34 on Sunday and 31 on Monday. Good news after that. We are looking at a return to sun and clouds, though, by this time next week. So lots to look forward to.
An Italian Navy training ship is docked in the Old Port for the second time. The 95-year-old tall ship is visiting Quebec as part of its North American tour, and Christine Long takes us aboard.
Since it was built in 1931, the Amerigo Vespucci has completed 87 training cruises around the world, each averaging 3 months. This most recent sailing was from Italy to cross the Atlantic. Captain Nicasio Falica explains they travel the old-fashioned way.
The same way that ships at that time did. So we hunted favorable winds. It was at 29 days at sea, but we went very south to take advantage of trade winds.
He says 85% of their Atlantic crossing was under sail, with cadets learning the ropes on this full-rigged ship with 3 vertical masts. Cadets learn to be sailors and eventually naval officers.
At the moment we are 406 people on board. So we have crew of Amerigo Vespucci and naval cadets from Naval Academy.
Docked next to Le Grand Quai in the Old Port, the Amerigo Vespucci is drawing a crowd.
But it's really cool to see it in Montreal.
Yet, not everyone seems to envy the idea of a life at sea.
That's not for me. It's fine. I think who does that is very courageous, but it's not for me.
Besides training, the mission here includes naval diplomacy, inviting the public to tour the ship.
The public allows us to keep in touch and transmit what we do, what Italy represents also abroad to the local population. And we're very happy to do it every port visit.
This Saturday and Sunday afternoons, the ship is open for free visits, first come, first serve. And then the Amerigo Vespucci sets sail for the Old Country on August 3rd. Christine Long, CTV News.
A popular Quebec donut chain known as Homer's is now open in Ottawa. In Ontario, it has a slightly different name, but the same decadent donuts. Here's Peter Sperling.
Oh my goodness.
So many donuts, so many choices.
I think the options are amazing. There's so much to choose from. I want to buy one of every one.
Ashley Freeman and her children are taking home a dozen from Ottawa's newest donut shop, Homies.
We thought we'd come check it out.
The caramel and the Oreo.
Now open at Herringate Square, worth the wait for customers like Braden.
We've been looking on their Instagram every day.
The company has multiple locations in Quebec under the name Homer's, including one that opened in Gatineau last year.
My parents tried this place in Gatineau, and they said it was some of the best donuts they ever had, so we've been waiting for this place to open since.
Everything is handmade.
and handcrafted, and we put a lot of love and passion into it.
According to Homies, about 5,000 or more donuts are made each day.
Overall, we have over 30 flavors.
There's the signature donut,
called Homer's Donut because of our name, and it's very popular.
Cookie Monster.
everything from a simple sugar cinnamon to a fancy tiramisu.
A pepperoni with hot honey sauce.
There's even a pizza donut.
Well, I can't do a story about donuts without trying a donut. Ian, what do we have here?
We have the cannoli donut, which is one of my favorites, and we have our signature Homer's donut.
Let's try.
Definitely.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, they're delicious. Very fluffy and just all around really good.
It was hard to choose.
Even late morning, drawing a bit of a crowd.
I just thought I'll come and give it a big try.
You talked me into it.
Yeah.
It was the first time. We drove 30 minutes to get here.
Having a new donut shop is fantastic.
As for Freeman and her family, it's a treat they'll try at home. Peter Sperling, CTV News.
Gotta stay away from those. And that wraps it up for us tonight. For the latest news, you can listen to the Andrew Carter Morning Show at 5 on CJAD 800. And of course, you can always head to ctvnewsmontreal.ca for extended coverage. Thanks for staying up late with us. Have a good night. We'll see you again tomorrow. Take care.